Hello! My name is Leo and welcome to another reading of the Elder Scrolls. Today we're going to be reading The Mystery of Princess Talara, Part 2 by Mara Kilkith. She felt nothing, a darkness enveloping her body and mind. Pain surged through her leg. With that sensation, a great feeling of cold washed over her. What happened? She opened her eyes and saw that she was drowning. Wait, hold on. What happened? I don't remember what happened in the last book. Oh, that's right. She jumped. Wait, who jumped? Gina? Yeah? She fell... Yeah. Gina got pushed, like, off a cliff. I don't know how that happened, because the dances. It's crazy. Those parties. Morrowind? Where are we? What is this place? Oh, we're in Camelon. Those Camelon parties, man. Camelon raves. They're pretty crazy. Anyway. Right. Her left leg would not move at all. But using her right one and her arms, she pulled herself up towards the moons above. It was a long way through the swirling currents that wrenched back at her. At last she broke the surface and sucked in the cold night air. She was still close to the rocky shoreline of the capital city of the kingdom of Camelon, but the water had carried her quite a ways from the point where she fell, a Cavstia rock. Not fell, she thought. Correcting herself, she had been pushed. Further down current, she allowed herself to drift. There the steep cliff walls sloped lower until they were close to the water's edge. The silhouette of a large house on the shore loomed ahead, and as she neared it, she could see smoke rising from the chimney and the flicker of firelight within. The pain in her leg was great, but greater still was the chill of the water. The thought of a warm hearth fire was all the motivation she needed to begin swimming again. At the shore's edge, she tried to stand, but found she couldn't. Her tears mixed with the seawater as she began to crawl across the sea, sand and rock. The simple white sheet, which had been her costume at the flower festival, was tattered and felt like a weight of lead across her back. Beyond the point of exhaustion, she fell forward and began to sob. "Please," she cried. "If you can hear me, please help." A moment later, the door to the house opened, and a woman stepped out. It was Memk, the old lady she had met at the flower festival. The one who had started and cried, "It's her!" even before she herself knew who she was. By contrast, when the old woman came to her this time, there was no glimmer of recognition in her eyes. "Why, Sinlith, are you hurt?" Remke whispered, and helped her up, acting as her crutch. "I've seen that gown before. Were you one of the dancers at the flower festival tonight? I was there with Lady Delia Reyes, the daughter of the king." "I know." Wait, I've forgotten her voice. "I know. She introduced us," she groaned. "I called myself Gina of Daggerfall." "Of course I knew you looked familiar somehow," the old woman cackled and led her hop by hop across the beach into the front door. "My memory isn't as good as it used to be. Let's get you warm and have a look at that leg." Ramk took Gina's soaking rags and covered her with a blanket as she sat at the fire. As the numbness in the chill water began to leave her, it cruelly abandoned her to the intense agony of her leg. Until then, she had not dared to look at it. When she did, she felt vomit rise at the sight of the deep gash. Fish-white dead flesh, plump and swollen. Thick arterial blood bubbled up, splashing on the floor in streams. "Oh dear," said the old woman, returning to the fire. "That must rather sting. You're lucky that I still remember a little of the old healing spells." Ram seated herself on the floor and pressed her hand on either side of the wound. Jaina felt a flare of pain, and then a cool, soft pinching and prickle. When she looked down, Ramkin was slowly sliding her wrinkled hands towards one another. At their approach, the lesion began to mend before her eyes, flesh binding and bruises fading. "Sweet Kinnereth!" Jaina gasped. "You've saved my life!" "Not only that, you won't have an ugly scar on your pretty leg," Ramk chuckled. "I had to use that spell so many times when Lady Ginia was little, you know. I was her nursemaid." "I know," Jaina smiled. "But that was a long time ago." "And you still remember that spell?" "Oh, when you're learning anything, even the spell of restoration, there's always a lot of study and mistakes. But once you're as old as I am, there's no longer any need to remember things. You just know. After all, I've probably cast out 1,000 times before. Little Lady Delia and the little Princess Talara was always getting cut and bruised. Small wonder the way that they was always climbing over the palace." Jaina sighed. "You must have loved Lady Delia very much." "Oh, I still do." I'm having a really hard time distinguishing the two voices. Ramkik beamed. "But now she's grown and things are different, you know. I didn't notice it before, but you are all wet from the sea. But you look very much like my lady. Did I mention that before we met at the festival?" "You did," said Jaina. "Or rather, I think you thought I was Princess Talara." "Oh, it would be so wonderful if you were Princess returned," the old woman gasped. "You know," Tim's voice, "when the former royal family was killed and everyone said the princess was killed, though we never found the body. I think the real victim was Lady Ginia. Her little heart just broke, and for a while it looked like her mind did too." "What do you mean?" asked Jaina. "What happened?" "I don't know if I should tell a stranger this, but it's fairly well known in Camelot, and I really feel like I know you." Ramkik struggled with her conscience, then released. "Ginia saw the assassination, you see. I found her afterwards hiding in that terrible blood-stained throne room, and she was like a little broken doll. She wouldn't speak. She wouldn't eat. I tried all my healing spells, but it was quite beyond my power. So much more than a scraped knee. Her father, who was then Duke of Orleans, sent her to a sanitarium in the country to get well." "That poor little girl," cried Gina. "It took her years to be herself again," said Ramkik, nodding. "And in truth, she never really returned altogether. You wonder why her father... When he made... What? You wonder why her father, when he was made king... Oh, God. Okay, I got it. Let me try it again. You wonder why her father, when he... It should be a comma. When he was made king, comma, didn't make her his hair. He thought that she was not exactly right. And in a way, as much as I would deny it, he's correct to think so, she remembered nothing. Nothing at all." Oh, man. I'm gonna take a little drink. These voices are fucking killing me. Do you think, Joanna considered her words carefully, that she would be better if she knew her cousin, the Princess Talara, was alive and well? Ram considered it. I think so, but maybe not. Is this a British accent or an Australian? I don't know what I'm doing anymore. What accent I'm doing anymore? It's weird. Don't worry about it. Sometimes it's best not to hope. China stood up, finding her leg to be as strong as it looked to be. Her gown had dried, and Ramkit gave her a cloak, insisting she protect herself against the cold. Night air. At the door, China kissed the old woman's cheek and thanked her. Not only for the healing spell, but for the cloak. Not only for the healing spell and for the cloak, but for everything else of kindness she had ever done. The road close to the house went north and south. To the left was the way back to Camelorn, where secrets lay, to which she alone held the key. To the south was Daggerfall, her home for more than 20 years. This is sounding like one of those choose-your-own-adventure books. Yeah, the road went north and south. To the left? Anyway. Yes. Got it. Man, I wish, what was the guy's name? Lemmy. What is it? Scottish? Scottish? I think he's Scottish. Scottish or Welsh? I think maybe he's Welsh. He's not Irish. I think he's Scottish or Welsh. He did these bits where he was like, what was it? Falhoon? It was like a choose-your-own-adventure, hotline. It was really cool. They were really funny. I wish it would do more of those, but that was part of his show that I don't think he has anymore, so he just sort of streams now, which is sad. I gotta go watch them all again. Falconhoof, that's the name of the character. Anyway, Adventure Call. Yeah, welcome to Adventure Call. I'm Falconhoof. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Back to the story. Where were we? She could return. Okay. She could return there, back to her profession on the streets, very easily. For a few seconds she considered her options and then made her choice. She had not been walking for very long when a black carriage drawn by 3 horses bearing the imperial seal passed with 8 mounted horses. Together with 8 mounted horses passed her. Before it rounded the wooden pass ahead, it stopped suddenly. She recognized one of the soldiers as Norbooth, Lord Styles' manservant. The door opened and Lord Cyril himself, the Emperor's ambassador, the man who had hired her and all the other women to entertain court, stepped out. You! He frowned. You're one of the prostitutes, aren't you? You're the one who disappeared during the flower festival. Gina, am I right? All that is true, she smiled sourly, except my name I have discovered is not Gina. I don't care what it is, said Lord Stryle. What are you doing on the South Road? I paid for you to stay and make the kingdom merry. If I went back to Camelorn, there are a great many who wouldn't be merry at all. Explain yourself, said Lord Stryle. So she did, and he listened. Oh. I wonder what's going to happen in the next book. Remind me to actually just, quickly glance over this book before I start reading part 3, because I didn't do that today, and I probably should have. Well, that was The Mystery of Princess Talara, part 2, by Mara Linsk. And this has been another reading of The Elder Scrolls. For now, my name is Leo, and I will see you next time.